Survive. The best guests in all of true crime. Don't forget to subscribe and smash that like button. Here's your host, Emmy Award-winning broadcaster, Joel Walt.
And welcome to another episode of Surviving the Survivor. No idea what the echo was on that intro, but this is the podcast that brings you the very best guests in all of true crime. Appreciate you being here. Putting this together last moment. So apologies if I look like I just got back from the gym, because I did. So we got word actually late last night, early this morning, both that Becky Clerk, the controversial clerk of court in Colleton County, was going to have a press conference at 11 a.m. today. And you are looking outside the Colleton County Courthouse in Walterboro, South Carolina. And you can see microphones are set up there as there's about to be a press conference. Just to refresh everyone's memory, again, Becky Hill, she has served as Colleton County Clerk of Court since 2020. She was elected. It is an elected position with more than 55% of the vote, so more than half. And, of course, after the Alex Murdaugh murder verdict, she was accused of jury tampering and violating state ethics for personal gain pertaining to the murder trial of Alex Murdaugh. It alleges, Alex Murdaugh's defense attorneys allege that she tried to sway jurors toward a guilty verdict, partly in order to help sell copies of her upcoming
today. Really not digging.
They are doing an audio check right now. That is what a typical news photographer looks like. I've seen them all. And there is one. They are doing an audio check. So let's introduce our best guests. Neil Gordon. He knows Becky Hill well. That is because he is the co-author of her book, Behind the Doors of Justice. And here comes Becky Hill. And of course, we've got Sarah Ford, legal director at the South Carolina Victim Assistance Network. Let's listen in.
Everybody ready?
This is attorney Justin Bamberg.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Justin Bamberg. Myself, along with Will Lewis, are counsel for Miss Becky Hill, the Colleton County Clerk of Court. Today will be brief, but today's important. Obviously, over the last few months, Miss Hill has really wanted to address her constituents. Obviously, with things that were going on, she has certain rights, and she's got to protect herself, most of which came under the advice of counsel. And that, I think, has been lost on a lot of people with everything that's been going on, is that as clerk of court, you do have a constituency, the residents here in Colleton County. And today could have occurred hiding behind a computer screen or hiding behind her lawyers. And Miss Hill was committed to that not happening. And I stand with her. And I also respect her very much for being here today. So without further ado, I'll turn the floor over to Miss Becky Hill.
Good morning, everyone. It has been my honor and pleasure to serve as your Colleton County Clerk of Court over these past 4 years. The clerk's office has provided many services to the citizens of Colleton County. The Colleton County Clerk's office is proud of our services and the significant impacts we have made in the history of South Carolina. Here at the Colleton County Courthouse, you will find a full-service passport office with certified agents ready to help you, as well as notary services and e-filing that has streamlined our civil processes. Another significant impact in our clerk's office was in 2023, when we had to manage one of the biggest trials in South Carolina history. Our small town came together and made everyone proud. Managing a trial with such importance to the people of South Carolina, as well as of the national and international media, interest, and public scrutiny, and has caused me to reflect upon decisions involving my stay in the office of the Clerk of Court. And so, after much reflection, I have decided that it is best not to run again for re-election. I will now be able to focus on being a wife, a mother, and grandmother to my 2 grandboys and will be spending time with the people who mean the most to me. With the upcoming election, I wanted to ensure that I provided ample time for other Republican candidates who may be interested in pursuing this position. I want to publicly thank all of the citizens of Colleton County who voted for me, who have supported me, and who have stood by me. I also want to take just a moment to extend heartfelt condolences to the family and friends of a very, very kind, professional educator here in Colleton County who has departed this life and gone on to the other life that she has. And that is the family of Debbie Price. And so today I just want to take a few seconds of silence just to remember her and her family and friends. I also want to thank my amazing staff who work in the Clerk of Court's office for the wonderful job that they have done and that they will continue to do. We are fortunate to have strong leadership within our office, and I am proud to say that our clerk's office will seamlessly move forward. I look forward to all of the future holds and will fondly remember the true amazing friendships that I have made while serving the incredible people of Colleton County. And so, as we fix our eyes forward, I would like to announce also that my resignation as Clerk of Court will be effective immediately. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I do have in my hand a signed copy of Ms. Hill's official resignation. That will be forwarded to the governor's office, Governor Henry McMaster's office later today. I've served in the South Carolina State House for over a decade now. When we run as elected officials in this state, we run publicly. Our lives become public. We serve publicly, and it's only fitting. And I respect Ms. Hill very much that the conclusion of her service also happens publicly. I'll be taking a couple of questions, but I do want to say one thing because I know that there are speculation and rumors. Having lived in small town South Carolina my entire life, I can see where people's minds may run after an announcement such as this. So let me be extremely clear. Today is not in response whatsoever to anything going on with any investigation or anything of that nature. Okay, and I'm going to say that one more time. Today is not in response to any new development of some investigation or anything like that. Today is about the people of Colleton County. There is still another week available for filing for the Clerk of Court's office. And it is what it is. If Ms. Hill had stayed in office, the people of Colleton County would be the ones who get distracted to a certain degree because there are a number of candidates running for Clerk of Court. Those candidates have different things different platforms that they want to campaign on. And it would be inevitable that if Becky was still serving while those candidates were campaigning, every time they mention something, every time there's an article, every time there's a forum and candidates are discussing the future that they see to create for the courthouse behind us, there'll be a degree of a cloud over that because it'll be talking about the sitting clerk, etc. So this decision was made wholeheartedly by Ms. Hill for the benefit and to the benefit of the citizens of Colleton County. We will not address any investigation stuff, whether it be SLED or state ethics or anything like that. So please, I know it's tough. I can see some of the faces out there. No questions about any of that. If you do ask, I'm going to dodge it because we're not going to comment on that. We're not going to detract from the positive nature of today, the bittersweet positive nature of today with that. So with that said, I would like to acknowledge behind us faithful members of the Clerk of Court's office. These are dedicated employees to the people of Colleton County, and we want to thank them for everything that they have been doing, everything that they will continue to do, so that we can continue to make Colleton County as great as it is. So with that said, happy to take any questions.
Justin, obviously we haven't talked to you guys since January. Justice Cole said what she said during that hearing. I'm just wondering your response to that publicly.
I mean, we respect Justice Toll, and she is a longtime jurist in this state. I don't think you'll find any lawyer that doesn't respect her. And we respect her decision in court. We respect her review of things and the comments that she made. She is former Chief Justice Toll. So at present, with the resignation of Ms. Hill, the deputy clerk will step in immediately to effectively run the clerk's office. And we anticipate that at some point in the immediate future, Governor McMaster may appoint a formal clerk of court to step in and actually be formally in charge. But for right now, and that's one thing that took some time lining everything up to make sure that with this decision, the clerk's office could continue to run effectively, efficiently for litigants and for the citizens. So there will be no gaps in service whatsoever to the people of Colleton County.
Gary Hale Jr. In fact, he's standing right behind me.
Gary, are you planning to run for the clerk office?
I'm currently here, and I'm on the county's time, and I can't discuss that right now.
Becky, what would you say was the deciding factor in announcing your resignation today?
Without a doubt, my grandchildren. If you have grandchildren, you know.
So you're saying your resignation had nothing to do at all with the investigation?
No, sir.
What the resignation is strictly about the people of Colleton. And again, we're not going to get into any of the investigation stuff and all that as things are still open. But the primary and the main focus of today is what is in the best interest of the constituency, the public. And this ended up being the out of the options that were on the table, for example, just not running again and staying in office through the election, etc. Like I mentioned earlier, that ran the risk of detracting or impeding the public's ability to digest information from candidates about what they want to offer. So that's why the decision was made. We'll take one more question. Yes, sir. I believe I would have to double check, but I believe the governor would have the ability to make an appointment. I don't know that there would be a special election. However, that wouldn't be out of the question. That question would probably be more directed for state election commission. And if there is a special election, of course, that will be announced by the powers that be in the elections office. And then folks will campaign, and the result will be the result. And then you will have your normal election in November. So thank y'all so very much.
And there you have it, a press conference as advertised with Becky Hill. The headline in this press conference is that she has resigned effective immediately as the clerk of court of Colleton County. And you can see that she is hugging people and shaking hands, someone with a sign there that says praying for peace. We could all use that no matter what the subject matter is, what the press conference is about. This, of course, is in front of the Colleton County Courthouse. Her staffers were out there. It is an elected position. One staffer was asked if he plans to run. I assume that the local media has some sort of inside track, realizing that he is probably set to run, but he said that he could not speak about that while on quote-unquote company time as he was there. Becky Hill with Justin Bamberg by her side. Of course, that is her attorney, Number one, I didn't realize how tall he was until today's press conference. And number two, it's tough to believe. He said it had absolutely nothing to do with any of these investigations, any of the criticism, the hearing with former Chief Justice Toll, and that part of it is definitely hard to fathom. Of course, the local reporter there getting ready to do his live shot. I'm going to remove that now and bring in the panel. And Neil Gordon, you wrote this book with Becky Hill. You surprised by this news? And then we'll go back through some of what was mentioned. But are you surprised that she is resigning effective immediately? And I can tell you, I reached out to you this morning. You didn't even know that there was going to be a press conference. I assume you're not too in the loop on this.
Becky and I have talked a little bit. I was heading to the Dr. Phil show a month or so ago and just wanted to take her temperature and understand what was going on. She did tell me at that point she had chosen not to run for re-election. So I knew that her tenure was going to be fairly short, but no, I did not have any idea. One thing I will say is that's a grandmama that does love her grandbabies. So what she said is absolutely true. She does love spending time with them, of course. There's been a lot of heat on her. I mean, I think you have to address that. There's certainly been a lot of heat on her over the course of the last several months.
Sarah Ford, do you buy Justin Bamberg's take that this has absolutely nothing to do with anything else other than the fact that she wants to be a grandmother, a mother, and a wife right now?
No, absolutely not. I don't know. Did you see my eyes rolling? I mean, what? I mean, I just wrote on Twitter, this feels like a press conference that was fueled by Xanax and Four Loko after a full English breakfast. Like, it was just, what are we watching? Like, why? I mean, I think she'd already said when she testified at the hearings back in January for the new trial that she wasn't going to run again. So we already knew that. And then, you know, you don't just decide after all she's been through that today is the day for no reason, that today is going to be the day that I'm going to be a great grandmother. Not saying she wasn't a great grandmother before, but, you know, that's just crazy. Like, it's just, the vibe was weird. I like Justin a whole lot. Great lawyer, great guy. I'm not buying what he was selling, but I mean, it was interesting to watch.
Yeah, Sarah, what do you make of the timing? Why today? I don't even know the date. It is March something.
25th.
And March 25th. Why March 25th? This has been going on for months and months now.
I'm speculating here. I mean, we've got about another week for people to file for elections. I think April 1st is the last day that people in South Carolina can file. But it seems like this would have something to do with the SLED investigation, whether against her or her son. You don't just decide this for no reason, you know, and say, oh, we wanted other people to have a week to decide if they're going to run for elected office because we care about our constituents. That's just absolutely ridiculous. But again, you know, entertaining.
Dr. Raj, you're the shrink on this show. This trial, I don't know, this not the trial, the case of Alex Murdaugh and everyone surrounding it. It just, there's never a moment of sanity or calmness. There's always some kind of drama. What are you making of all of this now?
First thing, dog and pony show. It's just what we saw. Okay, that was an act. You know, am I questioning her grandmotherhood? No. Am I questioning she's out of her league? You bet. It sounded a lot like when you have a college football player that tries to come to the pros and it's just not good enough and gets shut down and makes a good excuse why they didn't make the pro team. Okay? That's her. That's her. She probably rocks the world where she practices. But boy, when Murdaugh came in, that was national. And she was out of her league. And things that she could have easily done when it was small town didn't work in a big stage.
Dr. Raj, love having you here. Don't love your internet. The COE, I'm going to put you on mute here. I'm going to bounce you. I think your audio is better, but I'm going to bounce you out for a sec so the COE can just check with you. Neil, these are always tough interviews with you because when I was looking at the chat, a lot of people say in the chat are asking, doesn't Neil burden some of this criticism because you co-authored this book? What do you say to those people who say that you should be taking some of the criticism?
Well, it's fair. I mean, the timing of when our book came out, hindsight being 2020, could we have waited? Certainly. We're storytellers, my wife and I, and Melissa met her towards the end of the trial. Just the gods connected us all together. She was interested in writing a book. We were introduced. We fast-tracked it. I have to tell you, because I always believe in full disclosure, and we've put out a little note because I don't want to hide anything. I was interviewed by SLED on Friday, and the focus of what their questions were when exactly, with the dates and the times that Becky spoke to groups, Becky did interviews on television, and Becky did book signings. And they honed in on that. They're very, very persistent about that. And we don't have anything to hide. We were part in setting up some of that, but we're private citizens and private business people. And we were under the impression that she's allowed to do that. And I'm not so sure. And I don't know if that has anything to do with the timing of today. I mean, have no idea, but very interesting that we were interviewed on Friday, very specifically about that.
And Neil, have you released that information prior to just now that you were interviewed by SLED?
I think, as you may know from the last time, we're putting out a totally separate book, though it picks up from the story with Becky, called Trial Watchers. And the person that I'm working on it with, Mike Pachenik, was working on a release today to sort of share the fact that we were interviewed by SLED. You might want to check or have, Stephen check whether he's received a press release, because it should be about out by now.
Well, you're hearing it probably here first on STS that Neil Gordon was just interviewed by SLED, and this was just on Friday. Today's Monday, so only the weekend has passed us by. Sarah Ford, you're the lawyer here. What does it tell you that SLED spoke to Becky Hill's co-author, who's on our panel right now? What does it tell you?
Well, I mean, that confirmed what I said about 3 minutes ago. Like, there's no reason, like, there's a reason why this is happening today. I mean, it could be that, they were looking for those dates that Neil, that he talked about, and that lined up with what they're doing. They're building a misconduct in office case. I mean, there's always a reason. We don't just wake up and say, today's the day that I'm going to resign from office that I have been in for, over a year, that people have been calling for my resignation, or however long it's been. And today's going to be the day. No, there's knowledge, there's information, there's insider information there. She knows what's coming. And, Neil is confirming that there's definitely more than what she put out there today with her James Taylor smiling face. I mean, it was just a weird situation, but yeah, there's definitely more going on here.
So Sarah, Neil just said that the crux of the interview was about nailing down who she was speaking to and on what dates. They're obviously working on some sort of timeline. What could the result of this investigation be? I mean, is this a criminal liability? Could she face jail time here, depending on what they discover?
It's possible. I mean, not likely, but it's possible. I mean, if they're looking at, was she on county time, that she is performing these, book signings and working on her book on county time? I mean, that's essentially theft. So, misconduct in office, something like that. So That sounds like what they're looking at. I mean, it sounds like what they've been looking at all along, and there appears to be some confirmation of that. And heck, those emails. I mean, she's sending emails about her book and things on, the county email. If we're going to be criminals, folks, you got to be smarter about it. Not saying anybody should be a criminal, but like you got to think a little bit more clearly about what's happening here. And this is just a mess. I mean, this is just a mess. So this is telling us that looks like we're going to see something else very soon about Becky Hill.
Yeah. This entire case has painted or cast South Carolina in a very bad light. And I know the people of South Carolina are awesome, just because I have so many of them on the show. So I wish that wasn't the case, and I don't have much to stand on since I live in Florida, but people, I just saw a comment that said that South Carolina is just as bad as Florida. So obviously not casting the best light on the state, and this just making it a little bit worse right now. Dr. Raj, I have a million questions for you, but I guess the first one is, someone just asked, do you think Alex Murdaugh, because this is on local TV and he's got access to a tablet, you think he's tuning into this? You think he's curious about this? Or now that he's...
You bet. If you don't think his finger's in this pie, you have missed it. Man, these are lawyers against lawyers. Now we're seeing what lawyers in South Carolina act like. We're in the big league, buddy. When you brought Alex Murdaugh, I never saw him break a sweat. And I bet in jail he's not breaking a sweat. Anything, his influence and money and power are going to come out big, and anybody in the path is going to be run over.
Hey, Neil, so I'm back to Friday. How much lead time did you have before this interview, and how long did they speak to you for?
We spoke for 2 hours.
In person?
In person. They wanted to come to Augusta, and they came to our studio at our office in Augusta. I believe I heard from the investigator on a day or two before. I can't remember, Wednesday or Thursday, and I wanted to speak on Friday, and so we did. And they did ask for us to provide that list, and I did so on Saturday morning. I did send that in on Saturday morning, the places that were booked in terms of the press appearances and speaking, etc.
And was the interview cordial? Were they being hard on you? What would you say the temperature of the interview was?
It was cordial, but he was very, very focused on that. There were, I guess, some things that came out that said they were looking at potential perjury, and that he never brought any of that kind of stuff up, really. It was just all very focused on that. It wasn't focused on, remember, there was a controversial picture that was sent of Alex in his privacy and Alex in the jail cell on the night of jury deliberations. Didn't want to know about that. It was just really about the time in which things occurred. And Sarah's right, he had access to all of the emails that Becky had sent just from her Colleton County email address, and she had booked some speaking engagements and things herself.
Tiffany H says, did you tell Becky about the interview? Were you told by SLED one way or the other, don't share this with Becky, or do share this with Becky, or do whatever you want?
I was asked not to. The last thing that he mentioned, because we're allowed in South Carolina, at least I think I know Sarah as an attorney, it's a one-party state, and in Georgia where you can record a conversation. We just want to make sure that we had it itemized and everything, and so he was just did not want a tape to be released, and of course we're not going to do that, certainly. But yeah, he did. And I have not mentioned that.
And did they say that they would follow back up with you, or that was it? Do you have a sense of if they're going to continue this conversation with you?
Only if they had any other questions, but I didn't get that impression.
So you're hearing here first on STS that Neil Gordon was in fact interviewed by SLED about Becky Hill on Friday, and then coincidentally on Monday, Becky Hill announces her resignation. I just want to go through a couple of things here and then get back to Sarah Ford. So again, Justin Bamberg, Becky Hill's attorney, was by her side the entire time. He had opening statements, and he said that Ms. Hill wanted to address her constituents directly, that she in fact has a constituency. She was elected as clerk of court of Colleton County back in 2020, and said that she could have hid behind her computer, but he said that he respects her very much because she wanted to come out in front of her constituents. And so then she started off by saying sort of the usual, it's been her honor and a pleasure. Went on to say how they have a passport office at Colleton County, and then continued by saying another significant part of the courthouse is that they were home to the Alex Murdaugh trial, and it was a significant impact, one of the biggest trials in South Carolina history. Sarah, I'm still kind of trying to get over it. It was a very bizarre, in my opinion, press conference because they were trying to just openly pull the wool over the public's eyes, and I don't think there's anyone that bought that at all. And I think Justin Bamberg's probably more savvy to realize that that would be the case, but maybe he didn't have much of a choice because she said, hey, I want to do this. If I was the attorney, I might have said, just put a press release out, but it looked kind of silly, if that's a word to use. Do we know her son, Becky Hill's son, is being investigated by SLED? Do we know where all that stands?
I mean, he's been charged, to my knowledge. You know, where that is, I don't know. But maybe Justin didn't realize that Neil would be coming on your show here and saying that he was interviewed by SLED on Friday. Ding, ding, ding. Sorry, Justin. You know, it's just a weird situation here. I mean, this whole thing, like the tentacles of the Murdaugh saga, just it's so strange. It's so weird. Every weird thing that can happen, it feels like it does. We couldn't write this. I mean, it's bizarro land. And watching it play out, I mean, there's nobody that watched that and thought this just seems like she wants to be a good grandma and pick her kids up from school. Like, no. And you know, it doesn't make sense to me that you would have a press conference, like you said, you know, send out a press release. Hey, I'm out. Good luck to you all. Sayonara. But there's this very strange vibe that I get from Becky Hill, that she enjoys the limelight. She enjoys, you know, being in front of the camera and the microphone. You know, and I guess it's like, you know, all press is good press. Isn't that what they say? I don't know if I agree with that, but maybe she agrees with that. But it just seems like a weird thing to come out there and say, you know, I really, you know, have no other reason to resign other than I want to be a grandma. There's nothing, you know, it's like the Wizard of Oz, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Like there's a lot going on behind the curtain here. It's going to come out. Neil's letting it come. I mean, he's telling you right now what happened with SLED 3 days ago. So there's a lot more here. I'm like you guys. I'm excited to watch. I'm excited to see. Unfortunately, I have to go do my real job now.
Okay. All right, Sarah. Well, I appreciate you jumping on. We're going to talk with Neil and Raj for a few more moments, but thank you so much.
Bye, y'all.
All right, take care.
Bye, Sarah. If I may,
go ahead, Neil.
Joel, to dovetail on what Sarah just mentioned, Becky had shared with me, and we actually have this in our book, which we're actually starting to take pre-sales, trialwatchers.com. Part of the book is what Becky's plans, what she had hoped to be able to do after learning about the press conference on September 5th. She had hoped to be able to do a big press conference at some point, being cleared by on every charge or what have you, to be able to stand up in front of the Colleton County Courthouse, which she just did today, and be able to get into the meat and the heart of the matter. And of course, she's not able to do that. She shared with me many times she wanted to be able to kind of defend herself, but she was advised by Will Lewis and Justin Bamberg, just not because she was under investigation. And if she were to say something improper, it could really come back on her. So there's definitely a degree of truth that she would have appreciated the opportunity to address everyone, particularly after Dick and Jim on September the 5th.
Well, she got that opportunity today. I don't know how many people are going to completely buy the fact that that's the only reason, but we'll find out. Just a quick programming note, too. At 4 p.m., an unusual time today, 4 p.m., we are going to be discussing the Sebastian Rogers case. He's a child with autism, 15 years old, who went missing exactly a month ago, exactly 1 month ago. We're going to have a panel on that at 4 p.m. Eastern time. Where could he be? Some people are theorizing about different scenarios, and we'll tell you what those are. And also, Shanna Gardner was in court today. She is accused of murdering her husband, Jared Bridegan, in a murder for hire plot. Her defense team wants the state kicked off the case. And the COE said she's going to post that as a straight video. So keep a lookout for that. That'll be on as well today. From Mish, our friend in Cape Town, South Africa. What will Poot and Jim say next? Raj, the bigger question here is, I don't know what it is, but this is one case that just seems to continually spiral into something else. Why is that? And what do you think they're going to say next?
The reason is power. Okay. What you're seeing is what happens if power comes into a situation. When you've got power, you have a lot of professional diggers out there that are going to dig and dig and dig until they find something, because they know everybody can't be perfect. So they're waiting for the one moment, and then they're going to be like a dog on a scent. They're going to go for it. And that's what we're seeing. Now, the other side of what we're seeing, the press conference is, I think, smoke. It's trying to say everything's wonderful, everything's great, and the professionals in the law and outside the law know that's not true. There's something going on, and if we're patient, it's going to come out that there was, because power are professional diggers. And that's what you're seeing in this situation. You brought professional people in here with plenty of influence and money who can connect with national power players to dig.
Did I just see fireworks? I saw that myself. By the way, Space Coast on the West Coast, he just gifted 5 memberships. So kudos to him. And I have no idea. Space Coast has got to be behind those fireworks that went off around Neil, but someone let me know. I'm clueless about that stuff, as you know. Ned Smith.
I have been told I'm radioactive.
There you go, Neil.
That's what that means.
You're electric, Neil. Ned Smith. This question's for you, Raj. Becky is as delusional as Alec. How would you, I know you don't diagnose people, but having a little bit of fun, what is it about Becky Hill that she wanted to write this book so quickly, that she's an elected official, that she seemed to really enjoy the spotlight until right now, where she says she's going to go back to just being a grandmother?
You know, one of the things you've got to remember, Joel, is if you're going to be a surfer, catching the wave at the right time is the real skill. Okay, that's all we're seeing here. Is she's found. Here's a wave of the Murdaugh. Here's the book deal. There's money and showmanship involved. She just catching the wave, and I think she didn't catch it cleanly. And I think we're going to see in the background the consequences of not catching the wave cleanly.
So Becky Hill, just back to the press conference, says, it has caused me to reflect. After much reflection, she says, I'm not going to run again. I want my focus to being on a wife, a mother, and grandmother, and I wanted to provide ample time to other Republican candidates. Then she kind of took a left turn here and said that she was going to extend heartfelt condolences to an educator, a woman named Debbie Price, who obviously just passed away, which of course is sad. And then she asked for a moment of silence. So whether this is a right platform or a forum for that, that's sort of besides the point. But Neil, when she started speaking, it sounded to me, the way she was framing everything, is that she was staying on. She was just saying that she wasn't going to run again. Did you get that sense until the very end? She said, then I will, effective immediately, I will resign. But up until that point, to me, it sounded like everyone was going to be wrong. And she was, in fact, going to just bow out of the next election. Did you feel that way or no?
I really wasn't sure. I know when I had spoken with her before, she had thought about continuing until a new clerk of court would win the election and take over. I don't want to boil it down to money, but I mean, it's $100,000 a year job. And that's a big paycheck to give up. I mean, if we're being realistic and honest. So it took a bit of courage for her to step down from a financial standpoint. I know that she'd been under a lot of pressure, a lot of stress, and not been out in the community much, although she felt like she got support in Walterboro. You just kind of feel like people are watching you, looking at you. And so I just didn't know. So when that happened, I was like, oh, wow, it's today, it's now. Mm-hmm. So not sure exactly, what led.
Wow. Bonnie Lee Lopez here. This is a good comment, a wise comment to Raj. The prosecutor should have gone to the governor and asked to have her terminated. I guess that is how the sort of the pattern you'd have to follow here. She resigned and kept all her benefits. I don't know the logistics of government politics, but it sounds like, this was a high-paying job, Raj, 6 figures, right, and she gets to keep the money. Is it always about that, Raj, too? Just making sure that you keep the Benjamins, as they say, Raj?
It's a dance between money and consequences, okay? As long as the consequences are low and the money's high, I'm staying. When I look at the consequences getting high and the money not being worth it, I resign. It's just self-preservation is what we're seeing.
Madison Cox, I have never heard of a clerk of court holding a press conference. I cannot recall a time. And Adam Lamparello says she resigned because she got caught. Do you believe that, Raj? She resigned because she got caught.
Well, I think she resigned because she thought worse things are coming. I don't know that she's caught, but she's concerned in being caught. Because, boy, when you've got people interviewing people close to you on Friday, I guarantee that this weekend was a discussion of cost and benefit. And she came up with the thing of, but hey, looks better for me to step up and be a grandmother and be concerned about dead people. Oh, don't you feel it for me? Rather than you're a crook. So she controlled the narrative by doing the press conference.
Red Tail, welcome to you. Just found this channel. Awesome. We've got the best guests in true crime, and you're seeing it in action right now. We've got Becky Hill's co-author, and he just let us know that he was interviewed himself by SLED just on Friday. That's big news in and of itself. And then we find out that Becky Hill, the Colleton County Clerk of Court, the one who worked through the Alex Murdaugh infamous murder trial, that she has now stepped down. So it's just another layer of crazy on top of more crazy. Lori's Thrive says, will other cases be reviewed after this? We lost our attorney to her real job, and can't ask her that, but I can't imagine that they're going to not look at some other cases that she's been involved in. This, of course, was the most high profile with the most to gain. but
Right.
also the most to lose. Sarah Ford, love Sarah Ford. Who doesn't? She was the lawyer who was just on. Just to get back to the press conference, just to recap what happened there. Becky Hill said, I want to thank my staff. All her staffers were behind her. One, again, as I said earlier on, was asked if he's going to run for clerk of court, which leads me to believe that he will. He was unable to comment on that, at least on this platform, on the platform, during the press conference. The clerk said that Becky Hill said the office is going to move forward seamlessly, that we all have our eyes fixed forward. And then she said at the very, very end, my resignation is effective immediately. Raj, why did she save that for the end? Because she tricked me. I thought she was just going to say, hey, I'm not running again. That's what it sounded like she was building up to and leading up to. But at the very end, she says, well, I'm resigning effective immediately. Was there some sort of psychological factor for saving it till the very, very end of this press conference?
Yeah, if you save it to the end, no more questions. There's the beauty of it. Okay, I resign. Bye. Love you, mean it. Bye. That's just a quick way. That's like someone being on a date, knowing it's a bad date, and so you wait to the end. You do the dinner, you do everything, and then you go bye, and get in the car and go. You don't sit and discuss it why this didn't work out. You get the heck out of Dodge.
A little bit. Raj, look at this. A little bit says, Roger, just want you to know I'm an Okie in Oklahoma. Look at that.
OKLA, HOMA, Oklahoma. Okay. What I say to all that. Yeah, buddy. Homeland.
Wow. Ooh-wee.
Ooh-wee, buddy. Let me tell you.
Look at this.
All Cowboys there.
Amazing to catch this live in Canada. Just to put a bow on the rest of this, Justin Bamberg then steps back into frame beside Becky Hill, and he says, look, I've lived in small town South Carolina my entire life. I know people are going to be talking, but I can tell you firsthand that this is not in response to any investigation or any new development, and then said he's not going to address any SLED investigation or state ethics. Raj, is he, and I hate to say this because I don't want it to sound disrespectful, but is he just lying between his teeth right there?
Clean answer, yes. Oh, man, let me tell you.
It's the job of an attorney, though, to say those things, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, and it sounds like, excuse me, that he's liked. So he must be a good guy. But, I doubt he's making enough money to swim in the mess that's going on there. I think he was there to do lawyerism and get in and get out. And that's what he did. And that's why people like him, I'm sure.
Someone just said, bless her heart. Raj, this seems like an appropriate way. When I first started, I thought bless her heart was a good thing. And then I learned talking to all you South Carolinians that there's a little under a subtext to all that, but this is a bless her heart moment, is it not?
I love one of your viewers saying one of the styles of the South is passive aggressive. Yeah, buddy. Let me tell you, whoever wrote that, true Southerner. Bless your heart, man. If they're patting you on the back, they're looking for a place to put the knife.
Neil, if you want to address this from Gretchen and I, by the way, Bob Peach is living and watching in Thailand. That means you're very far from Alex Murdaugh. So maybe you're lucky out there in Thailand, but we love having an international crew here. Gretchen and I, for Neil Gordon, why resign if there isn't really a bad shoe that has not dropped yet? Would you have encouraged her to stay on, Neil?
Wow. I think that's really a personal decision. I don't know. I was thinking about it when we were putting together a little press release where I was sharing that I was interviewed by SLED, that I wonder if by resigning it at least takes the focus off of her and the state of South Carolina so that people can move forward And maybe it puts her in a little bit of a better light than being there and continuing to work almost like a football coach that is a lame duck, if you will. I mean, it's really never good for there to be a lame duck situation. I don't think anyone really wins that way. So for that reason, I applaud her for stepping down, but it's a personal decision. I mean, $8,000 or $9,000 a month is $8,000 or $9,000 a month. As you know, Roger mentioned, it's risk and reward.
Yeah. I mean, you're not a lawyer because you do it for free. Come on. You know, you're a professional and they pay you because of, quote, your expertise. They pay you to be an expert. If you're being an expert, well done. That's the job of a lawyer. It's not to be guessing and throw spitball and stuff. No, let's get this in. And what we're seeing is, I think in the South, people getting into legal things that have not been used to having powerful diggers in their life. And now they're suffering the consequences. I think that's happening in Atlanta. I think it's happening here.
Raj from La Mesa here. She says, much more is coming. Miss Becky better mind her biz and still to peach cobbler and pork. That's something I don't even understand, but I know
that's the South.
That's the South.
That person's talking about the South. Peach cobbler and pork swings. Ooh, wee buddy, and the sweet by and by.
But Raj, bigger picture, what do you think is coming Becky Hill's way? And also, do you think she's capable of just peeling herself away from this entire story? I mean, do you think there's another book possibly that she would have the chutzpah to work on, Raj?
She can do that. The biggest answer to all that you're saying, Alex Murdaugh. Okay? Yeah. If at some point he becomes a small story, yeah, she can get out. But she has poked the bear. And let me tell you, you don't poke a bear. It will come and bite you. And I think she has done that. And if there's anything to bite, because the person's Alex Murdaugh, he'll bite.
Web fan here says, STS, South Carolina, bless your heart, quote of the day. If they are patting you on the back, they are looking for where to put the knife. So,
amen.
South Carolina, this is it's a different place. I'm learning all about it. Just my thoughts, Raj. I want your thoughts on this. She was smiling as if giving a speech at some sort of award ceremony. So bizarre. Do you agree with that? That it was bizarre?
Yes.
Smiling oddly.
I want to make very clear what we saw was a performance. Okay. It's like seeing a play. You know, the actors look at the lines, they present the lines. That's the play. They're looking for a particular message from that. That's what she did. She was playing a part. She's looking to what we call bow out gracefully. Yay. But before she did that, she poked the bear. I'm concerned for her future.
Bernie Heaven here. Does Neil have any regrets? Genuine question. Love STS. Are you regretting anything today? And just 2 days after Sled interviewed you, Neil.
Wow. I regret the ramifications of all that has kind of occurred, but I've been this is my story of my life. The best story I've ever worked on from just a journalism standpoint. And I know I look like I'm 39, but I'm actually 60. So I've been at it a while. And my wife is a photographer, Melissa Gordon, and I'm a journalist. And this story has been the story of our lives. And it has opened up opportunities to meet trial watchers, which is our second book, and it's given us an opportunity to peel the layer of the onion back a little bit more, because what I've learned out of all of this is that people tend to put their lives on hold to be interested in stories like this, and it's almost an obsession. It is something that is so fascinating. They want to put the puzzle together. They want to get justice, maybe for justice that they haven't gotten in their own lives. We profile a few people. One lady's father was murdered when she was 21, and she goes to these cases seeking justice because she didn't get it back in the day. And so, you know, I regret the national discussion about all this and how this has happened, but I have more material for the epilogue at the end of this book. And you know, trialwatchers.com, we got a bunch of information on it. I don't know, Joel, if you'll be at CrimeCon this year. We're going to be there.
So. Yeah.
And we're going to keep talking about it, and I think this is the story that keeps giving.
Yeah, that's the understatement of the year. It's a story that just never stops, like the Energizer Bunny. Rosemary Romero, good morning, everyone. I caught the show. I just pre-ordered Joel and Carm's book. Thank you so much. Trying to figure out if I can go to Joel's book signing in May in Toronto. You better be there. May 21st. We're going to be in Toronto. And if anyone knows of an other good venue, I'm at a bookstore. I have to find out the name of the bookstore on May 21st, but I'd like to make another stop in Toronto. If anyone has that information, I'm at survivingthesurvivor@gmail.com. And you can get a custom inscribed book with Carm cursing at you if you just go to signsurvivorbook.com. signsurvivorbook.com. We are getting the inserts for those to sign them up. So whatever you want Carm to say, I will force her to do that. Joel, you look naked without your stylish glasses. I just got back from the gym and I can't read. So you'll see them at 4:00. Look at this. Look at Ned Smith. I like your no glasses look. Thank you. Look at this. Ned Smith also. Rod, do you have any response to this? Oklahoma is okay, but Texas is better. Would you like to fight her?
Everyone from Oklahoma knows the answer. That's what I say to that. That isn't worth the breath.
Come to Buffalo or Buffalo's close enough. Come to Toronto. I can't drag Carm everywhere, but Buffalo's close enough. May 21st. There won't be snow on the ground. Maybe there will be in Buffalo, but and I would love to come to the UK. You know, there's a CrimeCon UK that the COE and I talked about. So I'm hoping that we can get there. That's this fall. For those who are just joining us, Becky Hill, she is the controversial clerk of court out of Colleton County. She worked the Alex Murdaugh murder trial. Well, she was accused of trying to sway jurors into a guilty verdict, partly in order to help sell her book, Behind the Doors of Justice, which she co-wrote with our guest here, Neil Gordon. There was a retrial hearing, which found that she was, quote unquote, not completely credible. That's according to retired South Carolina Chief Justice Jean Toll. Raj, what do you make of that the former Chief Justice referred to her as not completely credible? How do you read that between the lines?
You ready, Joel?
Yes, sir.
Kind of pregnant. That's what they're saying. Oh, she's just kind of pregnant. Oh, okay. So basically it tells everybody she's pregnant. Okay, just keep digging. You know, they're on the scent. And I think she pulled the ripcord as a, good lawyer move. I hope it works. I don't think it will. I think she poked the bear. That's what I think. I think that, this story has legs, and as long as Murdaugh is in prison and has money and influence, the hunt is on.
Beach Bum is asking, what is the subject of the press conference? The now former Colleton County Clerk of Court, Becky Hill, has effectively resigned. She resigned immediately. So there you go. Look at this. La Mesa, Joel, I'm in Toronto, right downtown Queen Street. My birthday is May 26th. What a treat. I love it. A La Mesa t-shirt. I can't wait. Sad we closed our restaurant. I would have catered the book signing. Oh, that's too bad. But La Mesa, do me a favor. Survivingthesurvivor@gmail. I'm looking for one other venue, so please let me know what a good venue would be to hit up. Looking for like a hipster cool, where the cool young kids hang out who want to hang with a old Holocaust survivor like Con. A lot of young kids that are into that. So let me know.
She's cooler than many young kids. I'll tell you that right now.
Yes, she is.
Where I came from, Joel, they'd say that woman has a lot of giddy up, but not much whoa.
Raj, how much money have people made off of this Alex Murdaugh trial? And then we'll slowly wrap it up. It's been a moneymaker for so many people, right?
Well, I think the cash register continues to pay off. That's what I think. I think it's more than we can imagine. And for the right people, it has been a bumper crop. And for the people that are on the wrong side of this, it's a loss.
And you know, Joel, it's interesting what Roger says. I have gotten, you mentioned any regrets or whatever. You know, you never like it when people say, oh, you're writing about this, you really have blood on your hands. You know, you've probably heard that expression. Yeah. And we're all talking about it, and reporters and writers are getting paid as part of their job to talk about it. But it kind of bothered me a little bit. And so I think I mentioned on your program before, we're about to give $2,500 to foundations for Stephen Smith and Gloria Satterfield from the book sales, from when I learned it was plagiarized on. And then we're going to give 10% of the royalties for the new book, Trial Watchers, to kind of victims' causes, maybe like Sarah, what she's doing, and some other legal aid and some other organizations in the Georgia, South Carolina area. And we're going to get some information up at trialwatchers.com. But if anybody signs up to be interested in pre-ordering and registering, just know that we're going to do that. And it's really important that we do that, because there's some real issues, at least in the state of South Carolina. And with all that we've learned, there needs to be some reparations, or there needs to be some help given to those that don't have Madison Avenue attorneys to help them in situations that come up.
Well, I'm glad to hear you're giving some of that moolah over to a good cause. Jessica says, bring out Fred Brown. That's Frederick Morris Roosevelt Brown, my new pug puppy. Black Widow says, I want to smell the puppy. And Jen, the RN, says, I bet Fred smells like almond milk. That's how I describe him. Smells like almond milk. And he's a wild man. He chewed the little button that's on the top of the hat, little hole back here. This thing that looks like my hair is actually the lining that he tore out. So he's this little guy is already a terror, and he's got to be connected to me at all times, whether I'm in the shower, whether I don't know where. He's got to be connected to me at all times. So I'm gonna have to straighten this. Dr. Raj, you consult on puppy.
Joel,
yes.
Nothing beats a good dog. Nothing.
Oh, look, here he is, Raj. This is the new puppy, Frederick Morris Roosevelt
You
Brown.
should have never shown him to me, Joel. I may come down there and steal that dog.
And look, he's got his little bow tie on. The girls wanted the bow tie. Frederick Morris Roosevelt Brown. Do you have any advice for people with new puppies? The puppy is attached at my hip. I love the guy, but he's got to give me some space.
Suck up the love, give out the love. That's what needs to happen. Because puppies are all about love. Get it and give it. That will make you a healthier person.
And Raj, one more dog question for you. I love dogs.
Love dogs.
I'm a huge dog lover. I've got Ethel also, Ethel Bug Johnson. So we've got Fred and Ethel, like I Love Lucy now. And Fred is only about 4 months old. He's still peeing like a girl, if I may say that. He has not lifted his leg yet. Do you think he's going to lift his leg at some point?
Yes.
He will.
As humans, we are so impatient. You know, let nature run its course. You know, be a good owner. You know, sometimes they need a little encouragement, a little lesson, and us be patient with them. But I've seldom seen them go against their nature.
Yeah. I'm just wondering if I should be like, I want to go there and lift his life. I've never had a boy dog my entire life, only girl dogs the whole way through. And I said, you know what? I'm going to get a boy dog. Look at this from Space Coast on the West Coast. He's our technical guru, our audiophile. Bowser, his little Boston Terrier, does not lift his leg, and he's almost 4. They do need to be taught that. Space Coast, what am I supposed to do? Lift his, this conversation is derailed. Neil Gordon's like, what's happening?
It's okay if that's the case. Have a friend who has a male dog that your dog can observe. You don't lift it up. You don't lift yours up. You let them see another of their species do something, and it's kind of monkey see, monkey do.
Look at this, Bonnie Lee Lopez. I don't know how we've devolved into this. We just got 26 inches of snow in Vermont this weekend. Bonnie, that is your problem, not mine. But I was at the
Amen.
beach.
That's why I don't live beyond the Mason-Dixon.
Yes, I was at the beach yesterday. Raj, one other thing. This is Aria Dakota Grimaldi Lane in the UK. Raj, I videotaped this, and I don't want to get too dark here or macabre, but the other day there was an iguana in the bottom of our pool, and Ethel spotted it, and it went on for like 3 hours, and she was chasing this iguana. The iguana would not leave the pool. I didn't even know iguanas could submerge for that long. They're lightning fast. At one point, after the 3-hour standoff, Ethel dives in and somehow got a hold of this iguana. And let me just say, it didn't end well for the iguana. And you see here, Ethel, the iguana murderer. Do you think Ethel has the same black heart as Alex Murdaugh, or was it just animal? Or was it just animal instinct? Was it just animal
instinct? There's no intent.
Yeah,
that's the difference. You know,
yes.
What you've got to throw in there is conscience. You know, do animals have a conscience of decision? No, that's a human trait of having conscience. So now they're just doing what they're instinctually made to do, and they don't see it. I doubt that getting the iguana was a avenue for killing the iguana. I think that was not the intent of the getting it. It was just a retrieval activity.
Well, there you go. And you know, she didn't seem to think about it much and was cuddling up with me right afterwards. I told her she was a brutal murderer. She just looked at me like I was crazy. Look at this. America's favorite troll is back. Modine, where the hell have you been? Gentleman top right. I don't know. Modine is here. Breaking news. America's favorite troll is back. One other question, and we'll wrap up the Becky Hill thing here. Jen the RN, her 18-year-old son, Raj, still pees, not the dog, but her son, like a girl, by sitting lazily on the pot tea. Raj, any advice to a mother whose 18-year-old son is still sitting on the toilet like a woman would do, I suppose?
I wouldn't be concerned unless he was peeing on the floor. Okay. If however he's getting the pee in the toilet and it's staying in the toilet, good move. You know, if the person goes over by your bed and pees on the floor, that's an issue. That's a big issue. But
I think
I'm sitting peeing instead of standing peeing. It sounds like a preference issue to me.
Neil's like, I gotta go.
Modine I think it's safe to say today's program's really going to the crapper.
Modine says, gentleman top right is thinking, please let my Wi-Fi disconnect. So we were joined today, now that the show is completely devolved, we were joined by Becky Hill's co-author, Neil Gordon, and of course, therapist extraordinaire, Dr. Roger Rhodes. The headline is that Colleton County Clerk of Court, Becky Hill, who's mired in all kinds of controversy, and as we found out from Neil Gordon, is in the middle of some other investigation where he is being questioned. She has decided to immediately step down from her position, no longer Clerk of Court in Colleton County. This saga just continues on and on. Raj, your final thoughts on where we're headed with Alex Murdaugh. Is there going to come a day where we don't mention his name for a week?
When he loses influence, you won't hear of him. But as long as he's got influence, we're in the South. You're going to hear of him.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
His number one agenda, Joel, is to stay relevant. That's Murdaugh's number one agenda right now. Stay, whatever it takes to have his name on people's lips is a win for Alex Murdaugh.
And why is that? Because he's just an extreme narcissist?
Because that's how he grew up in a lawyer family. I think he learned the importance of being relevant and the power in being relevant. And so that I think we're just seeing some of his upbringing, and it appears to be narcissistic. I don't know that. I don't know how by who he is, he couldn't be narcissistic. But unless I sit down and talk to him, I can't really say that he is.
Jerry Michaels says Murdaugh's sentencing hearing on the financials is April 1st. That's next week. I'm sure we will be covering that. Also starting next week, Chad Daybell, his trial begins. Also next month, Karen Reed, her trial begins. It's getting hot and heavy come this spring. We're going to be doing all sorts of things. Keep in mind, again, Shanna Gardner was in court today. The COE is going to be posting that. And then at 4 p.m. Eastern time today, we are looking at the very sad Sebastian Rogers missing child case. He's a 15-year-old with autism. The father is out looking for his child, the biological mother and the stepfather, not as much. We'll discuss why that is at 4 p.m. Eastern today. And the final word on all this, Neil Gordon, Karen Reed hearing, was that tomorrow or was that today? We'll find that out. But regardless to say, COE, that might be tomorrow. I thought it was today. Neil Gordon, you get the final word here. I assume, hey, by the way, Neil, have you spoken to Becky Hill in the last couple of weeks?
Not in the last couple of weeks. I don't believe so. I mean, we text some and we're all on Facebook kind of thing. I tried to text her this morning because I heard that there was going to be a press conference, and as you mentioned, I didn't know what it was about, but I'm sure she was real busy. So, but I'll try to reach her afterwards.
And your final thoughts now, hearing that she has resigned effective immediately as clerk of court of Colleton County.
Well, I hope that it takes some of the pressure off of her, and I hope that it restores the government to a different level where everyone can kind of move forward a little bit. I think, as you mentioned, Monday is the federal sentencing hearing for Alex Murdaugh. I don't know if there's any more legal entities, any more legal cases beyond this, and there may be, but I think people are wanting to turn the page, although, you know, Jason Ryan has a book out April 2nd. I believe Valerie Barline from the Wall Street Journal has one coming out. We'll try to have
all on Murdaugh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, all on Murdaugh. That's right.
Relevant. Remember, I said that word.
Relevant.
Yeah.
Relevant.
Hey, buy my book because it's not about Alex. It's not about Alex Murdaugh. Thank God I didn't write about a book about Alex.
Buy my book. It is about Alex Murdaugh, and then other things. Trialwatchers.com.
There you go. And his book is behind. Can you even buy Behind the Doors of Justice anymore, Neil? You can't.
No, it's been pulled, and contractually we've kind of parted ways. So there's no the way that the book has been written now cannot be republished.
Wow.
So
there you go. There you go. No more Behind the Doors of Justice. If you have it, it's a collector's item now. But again, the headline: Becky Hill done effective immediately as the clerk of court of Colleton County. What awaits her? Only time will tell. And there was not a hearing. It was a press conference, and we just played it. So go back and watch the replay. You'll see exactly what happened until 4 p.m. today when we talk Sebastian Rogers. Love you, America. Love you, South Carolina, Augusta, Georgia. The Masters. When's it start, Neil?
April the 8th, Monday, April the 8th.
Is that a national holiday in Augusta? Is everything shut down for that?
Well, some retailers do really, really well, and a lot of people get out of town. We're going to be in Florida, so we're getting out of town.
Well, Neil, next year
The
maybe you'll invite
important
me
thing,
up.
so you need to remember, if you own a house, you rent it out for the Masters and make the money.
There you go. Modine, you were the highlight of the day, Modine. Don't hide on us. Don't disappear on us, Modine. See you guys at 4:00. Thank you. Guests, stand by 1 second.